Imagine a town where it rains yellow flowers from the sky, a place where ghosts sit and drink coffee with living people, and where some people live for more than 100 years. Sounds crazy, right?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to our podcast. I am very happy you are here.
Today, we're exploring a pure masterpiece, 100 Years of Solitude.
As always, we have our special guest to talk about it.
Hello. Thank you for having me. Yes, today we are talking about a very famous book.
This book is a true global treasure. It was written by the amazing Gabriel García Márquez, a writer from Colombia. Millions of people around the world love this book, and it helped him win the Nobel Prize. Today, we will learn English by traveling to a magical world.
I love that. Before we start the story, let us talk about the style of this book. People always say this book uses something called magical realism. For our English learners, what does magical realism mean?
That is a great question. Magical realism is a style of writing where magical things happen in a normal, everyday world. But here is the secret. The characters in the story do not act surprised. If a woman suddenly flies up into the sky, the people in the town just say, "Oh, look, she is flying today," and they continue eating their dinner. It makes the magic feel completely real and normal.
That is beautiful and very weird at the same time. Okay, let us jump into the story. Where does everything begin? Who are the main people in this book?
The story is about one family. Their name is the Buendía family. It starts with a husband and a wife. The husband is José Arcadio Buendía, and the wife is Ursula. They leave their old home and walk through the jungle for a long time. Finally, they build a new town near a river. They call this new town Macondo.
Macondo. That is a very famous name in literature. So, in the beginning, Macondo is a happy place, right? It is completely cut off from the rest of the world.
Yes, exactly. In the beginning, Macondo is a paradise. There is no sickness and nobody dies. The town is so new that many things do not have names yet. People have to point at things with their fingers. Sometimes gypsies visit the town. They bring new inventions from the outside world, like magnets, telescopes, and finally, ice. The father, José Arcadio, thinks ice is the greatest magic in the world.
I love the idea of a father being amazed by simple ice. But this family grows very big, right? The book follows this family for 100 years. I hear there is a big problem for readers when they read this book: the names.
Oh yes, the names. This is the funniest and most confusing part of the book. The family has 7 generations, and they name their children the exact same names. Almost every boy is named Aureliano or Arcadio, and almost every girl is named Ursula or Amaranta.
Why does the writer do that? It sounds like a headache for the reader.
It is a little confusing, but there is a deep philosophical reason. Gabriel García Márquez wants to show us that time does not move in a straight line. He believes that time moves in a circle. People make the same mistakes that their grandfathers made. The Aurelianos are usually quiet, sad, and smart. The Arcadios are usually big, strong, and crazy. The cycle just repeats and repeats.
That is a very smart way to show that history repeats itself. So Macondo does not stay a quiet paradise forever, does it? The outside world must find them eventually.
You are right. The outside world finally comes to Macondo, and it brings a lot of trouble. First, politics arrives. There is a terrible civil war between two groups, the liberals and the conservatives. One of the sons, Colonel Aureliano Buendía, becomes a famous war leader. He fights in 32 wars, and he loses all of them. He realizes that war is completely useless.
That is sad. So war destroys the peace. What else changes Macondo?
Money and greed. A big American banana company comes to Macondo. They build a train, they bring modern machines, and they change everything. But they treat the workers very badly. When the workers ask for better rules, a terrible massacre happens. After that dark day, it starts to rain in Macondo. And it rains and rains and rains.
How long does the rain last?
It rains for exactly 4 years, 11 months, and 2 days. This completely destroys the town. Macondo becomes old, broken, and empty.
Wow, nature washing away the sins of the town. This brings us to the title of the book, 100 Years of Solitude. What does solitude mean here? Why is the family lonely?
Solitude means being completely alone, even if there are people around you. Every person in the Buendía family suffers from a deep sadness and loneliness in their hearts. They cannot truly love anyone. They are trapped inside their own minds. Because they cannot love, they are punished with 100 years of solitude.
They are punished because they cannot love? That is very deep. Can you give me an example? How does this loneliness look in their daily lives?
Sure. Let us look at the mother, Ursula. She lives to be around 120 years old. As she gets very old, she goes completely blind. But she is so smart, she memorizes where everything is in the house. Nobody knows she is blind. But inside, she is completely alone in the dark with her memories.
Living for 120 years and hiding her blindness? That is a very sad kind of solitude. Are there other strange things that happen to make them feel so alone?
Yes, one of the most famous parts of the book is the forgetting sickness. One day, a strange sickness comes to Macondo. People stop sleeping. But not sleeping is not the worst part.
What is worse than not sleeping?
Forgetting. They slowly start to forget everything. First, they forget their childhood. Then, they forget who their friends are. And finally, they forget the names of things.
Oh my God. So if you forget everything, you are truly alone in the world. You lose your mind. How do they survive this?
They do something very funny but sad. They start writing paper labels and putting them on everything. For example, they put a paper on a cow that says, "This is a cow. She must be milked every morning." They even put a big sign in the center of the town that says, "God exists."
Wow! They have to write down the name of God so they do not forget. That is a beautiful and scary picture of loneliness.
Exactly. The Buendia family is always fighting with their memories. Some characters cannot forget the past, so they lock themselves in a room and make little gold fishes forever. Other characters forget everything, so they repeat the same mistakes. Both ways lead to complete solitude.
That is a very powerful message. Without true love, we are just alone in the world. How does this amazing story end?
The ending is a masterpiece. The last member of the family is sitting in an old room. He is reading some old papers written by the gypsies 100 years ago. He discovers that the papers are actually a prophecy. They tell the exact history of the family from the first day to the last day. As he reads the final words, a huge magical wind comes. The wind blows the entire town of Macondo away, erasing it from human memory forever.
What an epic ending! A town born in magic, destroyed by reality, and blown away by the wind. It really shows how everything in life is temporary.
Exactly. It is a story about life, death, memory, and the importance of loving the people around you. It is a book everyone must read once in their life.
Thank you for this beautiful summary. Now, we have a question for all our amazing viewers. If you could choose one magical thing to happen in your town, what would it be? Would you want it to rain yellow flowers, or maybe have ghosts drink coffee with you? Tell us your creative answers in the comments below.
We cannot wait to read your comments.
Thank you so much for sharing this story. It is truly a masterpiece.
You are welcome. I hope everyone reads the book. It is a story you will never forget.
And that's all for today's episode. Thank you for listening to our podcast. We hope you enjoyed learning about this great book. Join us next time for another exciting stories. Goodbye.
Goodbye.